Columbine. So today we're going to be focused, our topic today is going to be writing our personal experience with a bear that we've seen. So maybe describing a bear that we've seen personally. Okay, so think back on all the bears that you might have seen in your life. I've seen them in the wild and I've seen them also in zoos, but I'm going to describe for you today one that I saw in the wild. So we're going to go ahead and start with our date at the top. And we're going to start with, let's see, today is 3/31, the last day of March 20. And we know that we want to also start with our TAP plan to help organize what we want to put down on paper. So our topic is going to be bears. I'm going to call it my bear because I'm describing my bear that I saw. Since we're writing personal paragraphs right now. My bear. And my audience is going to be a park ranger since I saw him in the wild. So I might be describing the bear that I saw to a park ranger. And I'd want to make sure that my park ranger knew exactly what my bear looked like. So our purpose is to describe. That's what personal writing does. And the plan that we want to use is a web. That's our best plan to describe something. So, my bear. And let's put our circle. And we're going to have at least 4. In shared we do 4, but when you do personal writing on your own, your e-call writing, you can always do more. You can add more details if you think of some more to add. So my bear that I saw happened to be a grizzly bear. And this is actually a common noun. So I'm going to use lowercase. It was a grizzly bear. He was huge. My grizzly bear had reddish brown fur, and he was strong because we saw him digging under a stump, and when he couldn't get far enough under the stump, he took his claws and grabbed the stump and pulled it out of the ground. We did not want to be too close to that bear. He was way out in a field, fortunately. So, here are my details to describe my bear. So now I'm ready to take my details and turn them into sentences for my paragraph. Now, I remember that I want my paragraph to have good paragraph structure, so I'm going to indent, which means I'm going to leave a space in front of that very first sentence. My bear is describing, using present tense because I'm describing my bear as he is now. My bear is a grizzly bear. Okay, got my beginning mark and my ending mark. Now, I could have just said my bear is a bear and left it at that. But I want to make sure that I'm going to be using specific noun modifiers, but we're actually going to use a little bit more focused specific noun modifier, and we're going to think about what we call sensory words or topic-specific modifiers. That means when I think about my topic, I'm going to be thinking about sensory words or specific noun modifiers to describe my bear. Words like how he smelled, maybe how he looked, how he felt. Of course, hopefully I don't know how he felt, but that's just what an example of a specific or a sensory specific modifier. You think about describing something using your senses. So think about your senses, your hearing, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, everything, those sensory. Now, when I also talk about topic-specific sound modifiers, then I'm thinking about words that are specific to a bear. Using describing words that are specific to what word you might use to describe a bear. And in this case, this would be a specific topic, okay? Because specific topic modifier or adjective, because it relates specifically to bears, okay? So very specific modifiers instead of just modifiers that just tell me color or size, okay? So my next sentence, it is, again, keeping in the present tense, it is a huge bear. Let's say it there, because again, now it makes it more specific to bears. It is a huge bear. Now, the next one, reddish brown fur, I'm going to use as the subject for my next sentence because I know that I want to change the way my sentences begin to keep it more interesting for the person reading it. So I'm going to use reddish brown fur as the subject for my next sentence. So the reddish brown fur looked thick. Specific noun modifier because this is a sensory one because I'm using my eyes to describe a feature for my bear. So there's a sensory specific noun modifier. Okay, now my last sentence, the grizzly bear is present tense, keeping it, we want to continue that present tense throughout the whole writing. We don't want to change our tense halfway through. The grizzly bear is extremely, I'm going to put a good specific noun modifier in here because he wasn't just strong, he was extremely strong to be able to rip a stump, a big stump, right out of the ground. Okay, now I'm ready to do my final step and I'm going to go back and I'm going to read what I wrote. And notice how when I was writing and I started my first sentence to indent the way a paragraph should, the rest of my sentences, let's see if I can scoot this over a little bit, all started right on my margin. And I also made sure, it's kind of hard to get this all on my screen, but I also made sure that I didn't go too far out of my ending margin, okay? Because I don't really want to use dashes yet because there's a specific rule for using a dash that we really haven't talked about yet. So I really don't want you to use dashes. If you cannot fit the whole word without having to squish it all up and only going a couple letters, I want you to go down to your next line and start the word down here, okay? So now, let's read what we wrote. My bear is a grizzly bear. It is a huge bear. The reddish brown fur looked thick. Looks. Oh, notice I used looked, which is past tense, and whoops, I need to keep my sentences all present tense. So I can change looked into looks. The reddish brown fur looks thick. The grizzly bear is extremely strong. So remember that you're going to go and describe, it's your turn to describe a bear that you have seen. And remember, when you're describing your bear and writing your paragraph, you're going to be wanting to focus on your learning target today, which are modifiers that include sensory words, words that we think about our senses, our sight, our hearing, our touch, taste. So sensory words, or what we call topic-specific words, words that relate directly to the topic of what we're writing about. So we're going to be thinking in terms of using the modifiers that share a little bit more than just color and shape to help give the reader a better picture of our topic. Okay, so happy writing, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.